It's time for a deep dive on University of Portland basketball.
Alec with the dribble, takes it all the way down the lane, lays it up and in. Count the deuce. Alec Wintering, 5 in a row.
The inside story on the Pilots.
And here's Wintering, break down the lane. In the corner, long jumper, 4-3 on the way. Good, Jason Todd.
This is Portland Pilots basketball with Coach Eric Reveneau. Tonight's show is brought to you on 910 ESPN Portland by employee-owned Bi-Mart, by your local Les Schwab Tire Center, the Oregon College Savings Plan, by Buffalo Wild Wings, U.S. Bank, by Safeway, and by Play Smart Health Screenings from Providence Heart and Vascular Institute. Now here's your host, the voice of the Pilots, Bill Johnson.
And we do welcome you aboard for a Monday Night Coaches Show edition, our fourth of the year. Coach Eric Reveneau in studio with us tonight. We get a chance to look back over the past weekend, look ahead for what's continuing to be an extremely busy week for the University of Portland Pilots over Thanksgiving Day weekend, a very, very long road trip, some very good competition. And, Coach, welcome aboard. Always look forward to Monday night with you.
Yeah, no, it's been a busy few days here. I appreciate you reminding me it's Monday. Keep me on, keep me squared away. Yeah, no, it's been a busy week, but it's good. We needed some games. We had practice. We need some games to keep trying to get better.
Well, Rev, let's quickly go back to the start of the weekend and the Colorado game. Positive first half performance for the Pilots, but second half, Colorado, very, very good team, playing at home, 7,700 fans, some really good players, and they were able to take pretty easy control of the ball game. But there were still some bright highlights for the Pilots in Boulder.
No, I felt like we had played better than we did against the previous week against Davis, and so I felt like we had improved some, but the surprising thing was turnovers in the first half. You know, like you say, we had our bright moments. We were shooting the ball well, getting good shots when we weren't giving them the ball, and we had some uncharacteristic turnovers. We actually got a lot of turnovers from them too, and so the difference in the game, it turned out to be their dominance on the boards. Again, the rebounding, which has been a little bit of a theme for us, and we're trying to shore that up. But the rebounding got us in the second half, and just with a big athletic team like that, we're just making things really hard for ourselves.
Certainly one of the positives the other night in Boulder was DeMarcus Tyson coming off the bench, and we had him on our post-game show last night after the win over Abilene Christian, and it was during a commercial break, and I looked at him, he sat down, and gave me that nice smile of his, and I said, DeMarcus, I have just thought of a nickname for you for the rest of your career here at the University of Portland. I'm just going to label you as the Bothell Bomber for your long-distance shooting and your ability to hit some very, very big shots at a very important time. He's absolutely proved that this is a young man who can put the ball where it belongs.
Yeah, no, he has did that last year, and he's proven to do it again this year. He comes in and he knows if he gets a good look, he's pretty confident about it. As always, what I'm excited about and what's really helped us as a basketball team is the other things he's doing. He's doing even early on, the first couple games, he was one of our better rebounders, and we need to gang rebound this year.
Right.
We need to gang rebound this year, and we need him to defend. He was chasing those guys around last night a little bit, and has much improved defensively. And as a sophomore, he's got a lot of more upside, but that shooting ability makes him really dangerous.
Well, remember you and I talked a lot about DeMarcus last year, and I know that one of the reasons why I think he probably didn't see more playing time than he might have seen was the fact that it did take him some time to adjust from the high school level to the Division I college level, especially at the defensive end of the floor.
Yeah, no, he like I would say, it's funny because I was texting. Kevin Bailey checked in the other day on text from Poland, and he's doing well and stuff. And we were talking. He was asking about the freshmen, and I said something about defense, and he said, "Yeah, I've never remember any of the freshmen doing well defensively," and that's kind of true. They might have some good natural instincts, and DeMarcus falls in that category. But in terms of being able to do it consistently and with the rules that we're trying to do so that the whole team's on the same page, it took a while to learn. And he picked it up. And, last year I wish he had gotten more minutes at times. With Kevin being hurt for a little while, he got some minutes early in December, and then then Kevin came back, and I would have liked to have found a way. We had Bobby Sharp as a senior, and I would have liked to have. It would have been good, and it wasn't any fault of DeMarcus's. And I told him that he wasn't getting more minutes because it would have been good, for his development if he had gotten some more minutes. But he was improving all last year, working hard over the summer and everything. So now he's in great position to help this basketball team.
Even though the Pilots came out second best to Colorado, Coach, only the third game of the year, what did you learn about this team in a competitive situation against Pac-12 school, good team, big crowd on hand, again, 7,700 the other night for the game against the Pilots. But what did you learn about your team from just being a really competitive effort out there on the floor, on the road, in obviously a hostile atmosphere?
I'll be honest, my biggest takeaway was really just to remind myself that, it's early in the year. I've got high hopes for this basketball team, and I felt like we had improved from the week before, and I wanted to make sure I had to remind myself not to be too impatient. You want to win every time out. You want to, and
right.
You're not pleased with the fact that you can play better. I know we're better than turning it over 15 times. Give Colorado some credit, but we're better than turning it over 15 times in the first half. And some of those things were frustrating, but we've got different guys doing some different things, and we can grow from it and learn, and that's really what I took away from it. That it's still early in the season, that the team is heading the right direction. Their work ethic and energy and chemistry is all really on point and focused. And so I'm excited about the team, and we just got to keep teaching, and they're going to keep working, and we'll keep getting better. So there wasn't one specific thing. I'm worried about our rebounding. I'm worried about us getting. Bryce didn't get a lot of shots, and I worry about our offense being too equal opportunity. By that meaning just that they can take away certain things, and we don't have the focus or ability to get the ball where we want to get it when we need it. And again, give Colorado credit, but we've got to get better at that. So there were some basketball specifics, but in general, I feel like we're heading the right direction.
Rev, is that game against Colorado, is that just a one-year contract, or do they come out to Chiles Center next year?
They're coming out next year, and then we go back there again. So it's what we call a 2-for-1.
Okay.
And it's a great deal, and it's a little bit of money for us on the back end for the third game. So they'll be coming out, and I think that contract was signed today for December 3rd next year, Saturday, December 3rd. The Buffs will be in the Chiles Center.
Very good.
Yeah. Very,
very good. Well, we want to remind our listeners that this is your show. Call into the coach and visit with Coach Rev about the game's already been played, what's coming up on the road trip, or any individual players. Just call 503-542-0910. That's the number. Or if you like to go on the internet and you'd like to tweet, just go Ask Coach Rev. Really simple, and we'll get that on the air for you, and Coach Rev will be more than happy to talk to you about that. Right now, we're just going to step away for a moment or two, and we'll be back with more of the Coaches Show in just a moment on 910 ESPN Portland.
What if there were a place where you could become your best self? To become not just what you want to be, but who you want to be. At University of Portland, we inspire innovators, entrepreneurs, leaders, difference makers, people with the smarts to succeed and the heart to know what success really means. University of Portland. Rise.
B-Dubs presents B-Dubbing.
This is it, folks. Everyone's on the edge of their
stools for Appy Hour at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Here's the snap. He drops back.
For great deals.
And throws.
A domestic draft.
Smith snags.
$4 shareables like street tacos and Southwest loaded chips.
What a throw. What a catch. What a...
Appy Hour.
Experience happy hour at Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Participation and offers vary. See a participating location for details. Void where prohibited.
Find it online, buy it in store with Bi-Mart's cyber deals posted now on Bimart.com. Every 2 weeks, we post discounts on the products you need to do everything that you do, saving you time in your busy schedule and dollars in your daily budget. That's what's most important to our employee owners. Check out our latest cyber deals today on Bimart.com and start saving on your favorite everyday items. Get ready for your season for less at Bi-Mart.
A true financial partner should care about the same things you do. I'm Rob Schick with Baird Private Wealth Management. Our financial advisors in Portland are in the business of improving lives, and that doesn't end with our clients. We believe in giving back to the community where we live and work, because we have a vested interest in the future we all share.
Discover a financial partner with your best interests in mind. Visit BairdPortland.com. Robert W. Baird & Company. Member SIPC.
Alec goes around the top. He palmed the ball on the dribble. They don't call it. Takes the jumper with one to shoot, and he hits a three ball. How about that for Alec Wintering? That's his second three ball of the year for the 5'11". Hard to believe, already a junior, the point guard out of Charlotte. Score 3-0.
You're listening to Portland Pilots basketball with Coach Eric Reveneau on 910 ESPN Portland. Here again is Bill Johnson.
Well, Coach, I don't think there was any doubt about it. The Pilots came out with fire in their eyes last night after a couple of tough road losses to UC Davis and then Colorado, and you take on Abilene Christian only in their third year as an NCAA Division I school. The end of the first half score was 48-15, but what really amazed me is when I looked at the stat sheet and saw that only 3 field goals for the opponents in the first 20 minutes of play. That's tremendous defense.
No, the guys, I mean, you're exactly right. The guys came out with great energy, and, I felt like we did that against Concordia when we played them in the exhibition game and just came out with a great energy and fired up and the bench into it. And I was really impressed with our guys' ability to sustain it last night. It's just human nature. And as coaches, we really wanted to continue coaching because, like we're saying, we don't have a lot of practice time right now, and so we've got to coach and get better during games, and whether it's end line out of bounds execution, offense execution, defensive footwork, whatever we're doing, trying to find those teachable moments in the course of the game and talking to guys on the bench. And so I felt like the guys really bought into that, and it's a credit to them because it's just human nature. You're up by 30 to take the foot off the gas a little bit, and they kept trying to get better, and I'm throwing different lineups out there, and they're adjusting, and they really did a nice job. So I was really pleased and told them I felt like we're getting better, and we'll keep looking at the things that we need to improve on, but the guys are working hard. So and Bill, whenever you're ready, we got Jesse just told me here we got Pedro from SoCal on the line whenever you're ready for that.
Very good. Pedro, how are you?
Coach Rev, I'm a little under the weather, but I'm very happy for last night's win. It was a great game to watch. How are you guys?
Doing well.
All right, Coach. Saw a lot of great things last night, and I can't decide if you're going to be a defensive-oriented team or a equal opportunity offense. It looked a little bit of both in the first half, and what I really liked is that just a lot of good fundamental stuff: rebounding, defending. A lot of players getting some good spacing before they got the shot, knowing they were going to get the ball from Alec. They were taking a lot of high percentage shots. About the only wacky shot I saw was the first one of the game that Alec hit for 3 points at the beginning of the game. And after that, everybody settled down. But what I really liked was the second unit in the second half. They got staggered a little bit coming out, and then got it together and started playing together. So congrats on a good win.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, it was a good win, and there were some really good instances of ball movement. There was some there was a couple times where I was frustrated with their ability to take us out of what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
They were working hard on defense, and they were getting in a passing lane or a dribble handoff and taking it away, and we've got to be able to get to that and execute and slow down a little bit at times and execute that. But at the same time, there was some really good instances where the ball moved quickly, extra pass, dribble penetration, kick to a shooter. And so it was, there's a lot of good things going on. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. If there's one element in listening to you about to reiterate the game again, one element I really liked was a lot of guys crashing the boards on defense. Alec would come up with the ball down low, and Phillip and then Bryce, and you also had some real athletic one-on-one moves to the hoop for some fellows I hadn't seen play before, some new players. So very entertaining game.
Yeah, no, the rebounding, Maybe I'm getting older and forgetful, but I think in my 10 years here on the Bluff, I don't think I've emphasized a single element of a team as much as I'm emphasizing rebounding right now.
Oh, they got after it.
Rebounding is right now for us sort of a keystone habit that we've got to lock in on, and we've got to get better at it. So if you know a pilot, if you see a pilot on campus, if your son plays for the Portland Pilot, or you text with the pilot, or you hit a pilot on social media, ask about rebounding. Ask them what they're doing to rebound, because it's all hands on deck when it comes to hitting the glass.
Well, I know you guys, you and the team and the fellows and the staff are going to be way down in Texas for the holiday, and this is the sacrifice that you and all the young guys on the team make, being away from everybody at the holiday. But that's what you call chasing your heart and going after it and doing what you want to do. So have a happy holiday, Bill. You too. James will be down there with you, Coach.
Thank you very much, Pedro.
You guys have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Pedro. I want to remind you about the number again to have a visit with Coach Rev, 503-542-0910, or simply ask Coach Rev if you happen to be a Twitter fan. I want to remind you for just a moment, getting away from the coach, special 4-game mini package that includes games against Gonzaga, BYU, St. Mary's, and Boise State. That is a great package for just $75. Single game tickets start at $10 for adults and $5 for the kids. So you can get your tickets through any Ticketmaster outlet or by calling the Pilot Box office, 503-943-7525. And then for package and group discount offers, visit PortlandPilots.com. But again, that's a great 4-game package. Gonzaga, Brigham Young, St. Mary's, and Boise State. And I know this is a little bit later in the format that our executive producer, Jason Breaux, prepares for us, but your Stanford Cardinal came out second best over the weekend to those Galloping Gales, Coach.
Yeah, it was an interesting spot. As an alum of Stanford, but a brother of the WCC St. Mary's, I was sort of neutral in the game. I was just watching. I caught the end of it after our game, and St. Mary's is impressive. They've got. I only caught the very end of it, but the highlights I saw and whatnot, they're impressive, and that's a tough place to play. The thing that made me feel old, I'll share with you. The thing that made me feel a little bit older is the last time Stanford played at that building, I was playing, and I was the one. I turned it over with about 20 seconds left where they're pressing us. We're up. We had a pretty good team, and they're pressing us, and I turned it over, and they had a shot to win it after my turnover, and they missed it. So we snuck out of there snuck out of Moraga with a win, and the building's got a new set of lights and some few other amenities, but it's about the same. But they don't get Stanford in there very often, so congratulations to them. That was a job well done.
Yeah, that is really a great win. Great win for the conference, too. I want to go back to the game last night, Rev. A couple more questions for you. When you go in with such a monumental lead at halftime, and I know that you talk about, okay, guys, let's keep the pedal to the metal, but you know as a former player, professional player, as a coach for so many years, it is just part of human nature. My gosh, we got a 33-point lead. Okay, do we really need to keep the pedal to the metal? So what else do you say to them to make sure that don't let that other team get back into the game, and especially when you're playing at home?
You try to focus on the process. You actually really try to teach and try to, you don't want to be someone that they laugh at, and not recognize the obvious, but you want to sort of, nice job, talk about some things going well, and then say, okay, they've got 5 offensive boards, or I don't think they had 5 at half. We're tracking those closely. I think they had 3 or 4 at half, and then they ended up with, we're trying to keep them below 10. They ended up with more than that. But talk about what was happening on that. They had some dribble penetration to get to the paint. So really just be specific, and frankly, it's a similar strategy when you're down. When you're down, you don't want to, it's not all about just saying, hey, try harder. It's about trying to find things to help them and improve the performance and give them some tactics that will help them. But we really just focused as a staff last night on coaching, especially the young guys, and even the veterans that were trying to run the offense and do some things, really talking about the specifics to get better at. And the guys, and then to your point, the guys were then great. The guys then take that information and keep up that energy. It wasn't a big rah-rah talk, but to their credit, So, and Bill Jesse just said Ed from Camas is on the line whenever you're ready.
Good. Go ahead, Ed.
Oh, here he comes.
Hey, Bill. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Same to you.
Coach had 2 questions. One was at the start of the game, the enthusiasm and the energy level of the team was just fantastic, and it kind of showed in the zone defense that you played early in the game. I think was as good as it's been. I wondered if you could talk a little bit about that, and then also maybe talk about the student section is really getting filled up this year, and can you talk a little bit about that and how are you getting the students out?
Yeah, no, the energy was great. Guys we're going to play different defenses this year. We're going to try to keep teams off balance. One of our positive early statistics is turning teams over, and it's really by a lot of misdirection and things on the end line and things after free throws, zone looks and some traps and trying to keep teams off guard, and it's been effective for us. And I think we have some players that can be good playing that way, and it does start with that great energy. And if they enjoy doing it, enjoy competing and getting after it, it really makes it all work. And I think this group, that is a characteristic of this group. But like I said, the Concordia exhibition game they were great as well, and they've been good, and they were good on the road. And so they're good. Last night was exceptional, but they're pretty good that way anyways. And the student section, I'm glad you brought that up. I am very excited about the student support early in the year here. To me, it's the most important part of our crowd. I think they sort of drive the energy level and get everyone else involved, and our players really appreciate it. And there's a lot of work going into that from the marketing group. And Eric Jackson, assistant coach Eric Jackson, has actually become a liaison with the marketing group and some of the student groups and just communicating with them and just getting their input on some things that it'd be good if we could get him on sometime and talk about the different stuff they're doing. But they're doing some things. It's a coordinated effort. And it's just it's been good. So I think we do have a fun team to watch, and hopefully they'll keep coming out.
Great. Well, thanks, Coach, and good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much, Ed. 542-0910. That is the number to call if you'd like to have a visit with Coach Rev, or ask Coach Rev if you're a Twitter fan and Coach in studio, ready to take your questions, your comments every single week. He loves to talk about his basketball program. We are going to step away for just a moment. We'll be right back with much more of the Coach's Show for Monday evening on 910 ESPN Portland.
2 or more to spend 24 months, $19.99 due at signing, and $19.99 cash back, 10,000 annual mile lease, $5.95 acquisition fee, $14,870 cap code, 0 security deposit plus tax and fees.
The Pick Your Car, Pick Your Payment holiday event continues at Bob Lamphier's Beaverton Kia. Lease a new 2016 Kia Soul for only $99 a month with $19.99 down, or only $149 a month with 0 down at Beaverton Kia.
Wait, hold on a minute. Are you kidding me? A brand new Kia Soul for only $99 a month? $99? So you're telling me that I can lease a new Kia Soul for just $99 a month at Beaverton Kia?
That's right. Plus, the holidays are on us at Beaverton Kia. We'll make your first 2 payments plus no payments for 90 days. Plus, get 0% APR financing up to 66 months at Beaverton Kia. 1 mile west of 217 on Canyon Road. Call 1-877-891-4815 or visit beavertonkia.com for details. Includes finance rebates on approved credit. Expires 11/30/15.
Honey,
Why does the doorbell ring when I turn on the kitchen lights?
I rewired that. It should work now.
No. No, it doesn't.
Don't rely on short-term fixes that need long-term solutions. A U.S. Bank home equity line of credit may help turn the equity in your home into lasting improvements. Visit a U.S. Bank branch, usbank.com/dreambig, or call 800-209-BANK.
Home sweet normal home.
Some restrictions may apply, subject to credit approval. Mortgage and home equity products offered through U.S. Bank, National Association, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Some things you can't control, like going in for seconds a third time.
Good.
Or the fact that all 6 kinds of Meemaw's cookies are so delicious. Or the storm that blows in right before your long drive home. But you can be sure your tires have enough traction to get you where you're going, no matter what Mother Nature has in store. At Les Schwab, we have the tires you need, backed by our best tire value promise. That should settle your stomach, at least until you break into those leftovers.
Oh boy.
Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
Bryce Presley, drive down the lane, in the air, step back jumper, good. Bryce Presley got it. Score a quick 5 for the Purple. Well, of course, the Purple is also Abilene Christian. Looks like the Pilots are playing the Pilots out there.
You're listening to Portland Pilots basketball with Coach Eric Reveneau on 910 ESPN Portland. Here's your host, Bill Johnson.
Thank you very much. Welcome back to the Coaches Show for a Monday evening, 7 o'clock every single Monday evening, whether the coach is in studio, on the road recruiting, maybe sitting in his car in a parking lot, which he has done in the past, or in a hotel room, but he's always with us on Monday night. And, Coach, we really always appreciate your comments about the team, about what's upcoming. And right now you find yourself in the middle of a 5-game in 8-day stretch. I think you and I talked about this in the pregame show last night. Because there are so many new players on the team this year, and you're running a new scheme, especially at the offensive end of the floor, unfortunately, 5 games in 8 days, you love to teach, and you don't really have a lot of teaching time in this span of a season, do you?
No, it's really just kind of, try to survive in advance and move to the next game. And but I think it's in a good way. It's forced us to embracing teaching in game and making sure we're making corrections in games and using timeouts wisely and talking about some things that some guys don't always haven't learned quite yet. It's not like they're forgetting or something, but there's a lot of stuff going on. And we had 30, I think we're on practice 34 or 35. We had 30 before our first game, and we've got a few more in since then. And frankly, I think it's good to go against other teams. The other night, or last night, they were switching small screens. So every screen that was between 2 similar-sized players, they would just switch. Or if it was a little big screen, on-ball screen, they would hedge it hard. And so all of a sudden, they're doing something a little different than the way we've been doing it in practice, and we have to adjust.
Speaking of screens, couldn't help but notice last night that 3 very quick fouls on Philip Hartwick and I don't really talk about officials very much because they're good calls or bad calls, they're good officials, or some that are, not quite so good. Were those legitimate calls, or is this a lesson for Philip Hartwick about how to set a legitimate screen and not have one of the guys in black and white blow his whistle?
Well, they're legitimate fouls. It's not. They're legitimate in that, but they don't always call it. It's why, so they're within the realm of fouls that they'll call, and their point of emphasis this year, like we talked about a few weeks ago, of freedom of movement of players, and not all this physicality of the game and trying to clean up. One of the areas that I think they've been most consistent is on screens, moving screens, and when he runs up there, he's pretty athletic. He sprints up there to set an on-ball screen. And the guards don't wait for him all the time. So all of a sudden the guard gives him a moving target. And so I love the fact that he's so committed to setting a screen. He had one of his early ones last night. Alec should have waited for him. And so Alec goes early, his defender moves, and Alec's got to wait, until he's set. And so so that's a timing issue that they can figure out. And so there's some things, and we did have some foul trouble, and there's some technique things that we can clean up. The one thing I would say about the officiating, we are now part of a consortium which has the Pac-12 and the Big West and us, and it's West Coast consortium of officials, and I think we're getting a higher caliber of officials, and by that I don't mean they're more talented necessarily, but they're definitely more experienced, and they're guys that have had NCAA experience and whatnot, and so I've been pleased with that. You know, the Davis game was a good example. I wasn't 100%. They were calling it a little looser than I anticipated based on the rule changes, but they were very consistent and a veteran crew. So it's been good. And so the officiating early in the season, I've been pleased with in terms of the direction it's heading for the conference.
Coach, before we go to break, I want you to talk a little bit about the depth of this bench and how quick you are to go to the bench, because you know you have a pretty deep talent level.
Yeah, no, I definitely am comfortable using the bench, and I want to use the bench. I want to give guys opportunity to develop and get more experience, and I think I also want to arrest some guys. We're really committed to playing hard and playing faster and getting the ball and going, and that takes. And so Alec and Bryce and some of your veterans, are going to play a lot of minutes, need an opportunity to catch their breath. And I think this year you'll find us doing that a lot around timeouts. When the media timeouts are coming, giving Alec a rest before or after that, and then also, I think depth gives you versatility in terms of making it harder for teams to prepare for you. I know I don't like seeing a team with 8, 9, 10 guys that play over 10 minutes a game each, and you got to prepare for all of them, and you got to, and so all of a sudden, who's this Jazz Johnson guy? What's he going to do now? Or how is he different? Or,
right.
Or bringing in Max Livingston or, Gabe Taylor and Jarrell, making that change, or the little things that maybe all of a sudden these are, a different night, different guy can come in and contribute. So, and then the post players, I think, having new fresh guys come in that can run the other team's big guy and do that. So I think it's definitely a strength for us, and the guys are really embracing it right now, and I think it's going well.
I want to pick on one individual player. We had Colin Falk, your assistant coach, on the post-game show last night, and he said that Colin Russell, freshman, young man out of Folsom, California, is setting an absolutely incredible example with his blue-collar, hard-nosed style of play about going after basketball, even if it's on the other side of the floor. And Coach Falk just made the comment to me in the show. He said, he's just setting a great example. And then you stop and look and you think, wait a minute, this kid's only played 4 college basketball games, and he's setting a trend for this team.
He's doing a great job. He reminds me a little bit of Ryan Nicholas, to be honest. He's a different position and whatnot. And, he's one of those guys that he doesn't let having the correct answer or knowing the exactly right thing to do slow him down. He might not know exactly, what technique-wise or something, but he commits 100% to getting the job done, whether it's a rebound or showing on a screen. For example, last night they ran a play, we call it a trap door, where it was a sideline out of bounds play where 2 players come together along the lane line right after their guy runs through, and DeMarcus got clipped right by the elevator doors, right? They closed on him, and he got caught. And Colin, long story short, Colin wasn't the primary guy in position to help. It wasn't his responsibility. But next thing you know, sure enough, he was flying out at the shooter and contesting that shot. And we talk about that being, there's sort of game situations where you just got to scramble and play. And it's really great to have someone whose natural motor is already revved up and going, and it's just a matter of trying to refine it and teach some things. But boy, he's going hard.
Well, Alcorn State is the very next opponent. This is a school out of Southwestern Athletic Conference in the state and the deep south of Mississippi. We're going to come back with the coach in just a couple of moments, have him preview that game, look ahead for Thanksgiving weekend. A lot to go. We're only 30 minutes down and 30 to go. So the number to call if you want to visit with Coach Rev, 503-542-0910, or simply ask Coach Rev if you're a fan of tweeting. We'll be back in just a moment. Much more of the Coach's Show on 910 ESPN Portland.
Mom, Dad, we need to talk. I know college will be expensive, but the Oregon College Savings Plan can help. Did you know you could save on your taxes while you save for my college? Any earnings and qualified withdrawals are tax-free.
You can even get a state tax deduction.
Sweet!
Are you saving for college? It helps if you have a plan. With the Oregon College Savings Plan, you can get an Oregon state income tax deduction of over $4,500 for 2015. Plus, when you use the money for qualified college expenses, any earnings are both state and federal tax-free. So for more information, go to OregonCollegeSavings.com.
Now, about my allowance.
The plan is administered by the state of Oregon. Consider the investment objectives, risks, and expenses before investing in the plan. Go to OregonCollegeSavings.com for a disclosure booklet and read it carefully. Investments in the plan are not guaranteed, and there is the risk of investment loss. Non-qualified withdrawals may be subject to taxes and penalties. State tax advantages subject to recapture provisions. Consult your tax advisor.
Some things you can't control, like that epic traffic in the mall parking lot. Or the fussy triplets waiting behind you at the only register. Or the wet rock-filled shortcut you take home that leads to this. A flat tire. But you're not worried. Your Les Schwab tires are backed by their best tire value promise. So you'll get free flat repairs, free pre-trip safety checks, equal value replacements, and more for the life of your tires. Even the triplets would appreciate that. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
Are you ready? Beavers football is going to be intense this season. And if you're headed to the action at Reser, you need officially licensed Beaver gear that's up for the challenge from Drift Creek. Locally owned and operated, Drift Creek can hook you up with their Stormblock game day jacket or Drift Tech technical hoodie, hats, and more, all made to protect you from the unpredictable Oregon weather. Get the highest quality at an affordable price. Find Drift Creek gear this fall at all area Bi-Mart stores. With Drift Creek, game day never looked so good.
Gabe Taylor pick goes deep in the corner. Presley unloads a 3-ball. It's good. Bryce Presley, already his 13th 3-ball of the year. He had 8 against Oregon Tech. Shades of Bobby Sharpshooter.
You're listening to Portland Pilots basketball with Coach Eric Reveneau on 910 ESPN Portland. Here again is Bill Johnson.
Thank you very much. Welcome back to the Coach's Show with Coach Rev on this Monday evening. And, Coach, you may not believe this, but I've actually done a little bit of homework for this game against Alcorn State coming up tomorrow night, 7 o'clock tip. 6:30 will be our broadcast time. I mentioned a moment ago, Alcorn, Mississippi is the home of this school. They're a member of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Last year, only 6-26 on the year, 4-14, finishing in 9th place out of a 10-team league. And so bad was the program, both academically and athletically, that Luther Riley was fired as their head coach, replaced by Montel Robinson. Out of 351 schools on the RPI list, this is academically now, the Braves finished 348th on the academic progress report, and they have been banned from any postseason play this year. In fact, over the last 5 years, they have only won 42 games. Well, their next game is coming up in Portland, Oregon, tomorrow night at Child Center. Again, 7 o'clock tip. Talk about on the floor, Coach, if you can, if you've been able to see any video at all of Alcorn State.
Wow, that's an extensive scouting report. Coach Jackson's got Coach Jackson didn't include all that stuff there. That's a little perspective on them. It's interesting because they play with a chip on their shoulder. They play with the new coach has got them really playing hard defensively. He's got them taking charges. Coach Jackson says that we watched their 2 games, and I've watched a game and a half. It's early now, and I've seen a couple. They take charges all the time. You could tell he's really focusing on the defensive end of the floor for them. Offensively, they run a few basic sets from what we call a horn set. The horn set is, you see, when the 2 post players, the 4 and the 5, are at the elbows of the free throw lane, and with the 2 perimeter players in the corner, and you can come off a screen either side, or you can run different actions. Some of them are pretty standard, and they run some basic stuff out of that. They've got a 3-4-man number 30 that is very versatile. He's a big man. He's about 6'7", 230. 270, I think, is what he goes at, and he's surprisingly athletic and can shoot the ball. And they present some matchup problems and some unique scenarios defensively for us. But we're going to try to stick to our game plan. I think I'm worried about rebounding as been the theme. I'm worried about that pretty much against anybody right now until we can prove otherwise. But this team is very good and very aggressive going to the offensive glass, so it's definitely going to be a big point for us.
And all of a sudden, no break in the action at all. You've got the game tomorrow night, Rev, and then head for the airport. Long day travel on Wednesday. Talk about the travel day and then Thanksgiving, a little break from basketball, but then right back to work with 2 in a row on the road playing Colorado State in the opening round of the Corpus Christi Classic.
Yeah, the good news is, as I was leaving the office this evening around 5:45, Director of Basketball Operations Kramer Knutson was double-checking seat assignments. When you travel with a 7'1" guy, you want to make sure he's a little harder to put away than a carry-on. You got to get him a good seat. And you don't want grumpy big guys on you. And he was getting some exit rows and getting some things taken care of. And we fly to Houston. We don't practice Wednesday. It's our NCAA off day actually this week. We just the guys will need the rest and we'll practice on Thursday. But we fly to Houston, then the short hop over to Corpus Christi. The weather's pretty good there, evidently, this time of year. So we'll get down there, and Thursday with Thanksgiving, we'll have a team Thanksgiving and practice. Father Jerry Ollinger, our team chaplain, is coming with us, which is really great. In terms of helping set the tone and making sure we keep things in perspective. And it's really nice for me actually to have him. He'll conduct a mass. He'll say grace before our Thanksgiving meal, and he'll sort of put the proper perspective on the day that I know is necessary, and it takes the pressure off of me, to be honest, to do that for the young men, just by myself or with the other coaches. And so it's really nice having Father Jerry around, and he likes the basketball himself, and he likes watching the guys work, and so it's going to be great to have him as well.
Well, obviously hoping for the same result, because the University of Portland has played, and I don't know if you know this, Coach, but when the University of Texas at Corpus Christi joined the NCAA Division I ranks, the Pilots traveled to Corpus Christi on Thanksgiving Day weekend. Rob Chavez was the coach at the time, and fortunately pulled out the win in overtime.
Wow. No, I did not know that. You've got all kinds of good stuff for me tonight. You're working today. I have not looked ahead. The assistant coaches are preparing the scouting reports. I think Coach Pfaff actually is working on Colorado State. Coach Johnson has the winner of the Texas El Paso Southern Illinois game, or the opponent we play coming out of that game on Saturday. So, right now, like we were talking about, it's really just trying to focus on us. The travel and the whatnot, the schedule things, it's good for us. I think it's good to develop that road toughness. Davis, Colorado, I think those experiences are good because unfortunately, in the WCC, we don't get to play all our games in the friendly confines of the Chiles Center. We got to go on the road, go to San Diego, go to BYU, and that's really important for us to develop that road toughness and find a way to win on the road.
Well, let's take a quick break. 542-0910, ESPN Portland, or if you just like to tweet, ask Coach Rev. We're going to take a short break, and we'll come back. Much more basketball to talk about on the Coaches Show in just a moment.
Providence Wellness Watch from Providence Heart and Vascular Institute on PlaySmart heart screenings for young people.
Most kids' hearts are healthy, thank goodness, but a small number of kids will have hidden heart defects that you wouldn't know about unless you did testing. PlaySmart is a free screening program for kids ages 12 through 18. We perform a blood pressure measurement, an electrocardiogram. It takes less than 10 minutes, painless, non-invasive, and it gives cardiologists a lot of information so that we can assess risk. Hidden heart defects are not common, but we want to know about them. All kids can be at risk, and therefore we want to give all kids the opportunity to have a free screening. We want our kids to stay active throughout the school year and throughout the summer, so now's a great time to get screened and to learn more about your heart.
To learn more about Providence Heart and Vascular Institute's PlaySmart screenings for kids ages 12 to 18, visit playsmartgetscreened.org.
B-Dubs presents B-Dubbing.
This is it, folks. Everyone's on the edge of their
stools for Appy Hour at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Here's the snap. He drops back.
For great deals.
And throws.
A domestic draft.
Smith snags.
$4 shareables like street tacos and Southwest loaded chips.
What a throw. What a catch. What a...
Appy Hour.
Experience Appy Hour at Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Participation and offers vary. See a participating location for details. Void where prohibited.
Big Sook for my hometown dealer, Vancouver Ford. I was in the market for a car this past fall, shopped around to find everyday low prices on all Fords at Vancouver Ford, and I realized you will pay too much if you don't visit Vancouver Ford, where every new Focus is $5,000 off MSRP. After all normal rebates, that's about 25% off the world's #1 selling car. The big Ford store is between 205 and I-5 at SR 500 and Andreessen. See them today or visit VancouverFord.com for all the details. My hometown dealer is Vancouver Ford.
Here's a shot missed by the Pilots. Philip Hartwick in the ball game. Kick out pass goes to Alec Wintering. And Wintering has now hit 3 consecutive three-pointers. And coming into the ball game, he only had 1 in the early going of the year. 18-4 the score.
You're listening to Portland Pilots basketball with Coach Eric Reveneau on 910 ESPN Portland. Here's your host, Bill Johnson.
Thank you very much. Welcome back to the Coach's Show on a Monday night. And, Coach, you will have to refresh my memory, if you will, please. Colorado State is the opponent Friday night once you reach the Lone Star State of Texas. Was it not Colorado State that literally almost destroyed Kevin Bailey's junior year, and he had the surgery on the face, and he had some really serious problems, and he went down early in that game in Las Vegas? Am I remembering that correctly?
Oh, man, where's Jason Bro when you need him? I don't know.
I think it was Colorado State, the Rams.
Well, that gives someone a reason to call if we're mistaken, or hashtag ask coach or hashtag tell coach Rev. Try that one. Just let me know. I'm bad like that. I got Kramer and I were talking about it. I remember the games. I remember guys getting hurt. I think you're right. Now that I think about it, but I remember the games. I remember these things. My worst one, you talk about holiday practices. Kramer and I in the office were laughing. Lucky he could laugh about it now because I don't think he remembers it. The time we were down in California on Christmas, and we practiced on Christmas Day to play in the Cal tournament on the 26th, and he got a concussion on December 25th, so I felt like a Scrooge for sure. So I do remember when guys get hurt. I don't always remember who we're playing, though. So,
well, I remember Rich Bennett, our trainer, was at the hospital at 2 o'clock in the morning, still working with the doctors with Kevin. It was a really, really serious injury, and unfortunately it came in the very early part of the year, and then he wore the mask for the rest of the year, and it just wasn't the real Kevin Bailey that we saw for the majority of that year, and I believe it was Colorado State. But
I think
memories are memories. Let's just talk about the Rams and what kind of a team they had this year. 3-0, their record going in.
Yeah, no, to be honest, I don't know a lot about them yet. I'm sort of, focused on the next one, and we'll have a couple days to turn the page and look at them. I think it's a good opportunity. Those are good teams down there in Corpus Christi, and Colorado State's always a well-coached, tough-minded team, and broken noses aside, they play some tough-nosed basketball. No pun intended. Some tough-nosed basketball, and but they're very good, and I think hopefully the guys will get some rest. We're in good shape right now in terms of real light practices on these off days from these games. Wednesday will be a travel day. Coach Scott, strength and conditioning coach, is also going down with us, and he does a great job of making sure the guys are staying hydrated and stretching and making sure they're recovering properly. So, we will have one day of practice on Thanksgiving, and then we'll have Colorado State. So it should be a good trip.
Larry Eustachy is the head coach, and he's had well-documented off-the-court problems, fortunately for years past at Iowa State, but now he's at Colorado State, and one thing about this man, he knows how to coach, he knows how to recruit.
Yeah, no, he definitely does. I mean, he's his teams are always well prepared. Very, they're very meticulous in what they do. Sometimes you kind of know what you have coming at you, and you got to prepare for it. And then every once in a while, he's got a reputation for giving you something you're not prepared for, and pulling something out of the bag of tricks. So he's a veteran of the game for sure, and someone that it'll be fun to go against.
So as you mentioned, the Rams are 3-0 now. They've defeated Northern Iowa on the road. And this, by the way, for all you college basketball junkies or just those who are semi-interested, this is the same Northern Iowa team that just knocked off number 1 ranked North Carolina. So a really quick question to you. This has nothing to do with the Pilots, Coach. Number 1, it shows you got to be ready to play every single night, no matter who you're playing. And then my second comment, and I'd like you to comment on this, does this mean because we've already had a number of upsets this year, is the playing field just leveling out on the Division I level, or is it a combination of the two?
It's a good question because there have been some that just Southern Miss lost to a non-Division I tonight. I saw that, and it's I think the parity is in college basketball is really a reality. I think the top to the bottom on any given night, as cliche as it is, that it happens. You see it when we play Concordia, or we play OIT, and we see these guys. The difference in ability sometimes, set of circumstances, different matchups. They're not even Division I, and they're not bad, And then within Division I, there's some teams that don't get a lot of respect. It just takes a couple guys, to turn a basketball team around. It's not like football where the parity required to close that gap requires a lot more bodies and different combinations. Whereas in basketball, 2-3 guys in the right development, all of a sudden you can have a team that can surprise some people. So, I think there is a lot more parity going on in college basketball.
Well, as we mentioned, the Rams are 3-0 on the year, and already out of the West Coast Conference, they have defeated Loyola Marymount University. Still much more to go on the Coach's Show, our final segment. I want to remind you, just give the coach a quick call, 542-0910, or you hashtaggers Ask Coach Rev about the upcoming road trip, the Thanksgiving Day weekend, strengths, weaknesses of the Pilots. Give them a holler. We got a couple more minutes to go on our show, and we'll be back with our final segment coming up in just a moment on 910 ESPN Portland.
Here's the snap. Looks like he's going to take it up the middle, and whoa! He got juked by that guy, cut him right off. Here's the weave, headed straight for the curb, and oh no, that's a hard hit. Looks like he won't be back in this game.
Driving drunk is not a game. In the U.S., nearly 10,000 people a year are killed because of alcohol-impaired driving crashes. Enjoy football season, but if you've been drinking, pass the keys and designate a driver. A message from the OLCC, ODOT, and every other driver on the road.
What if there were a place where you could become your best self? To become not just what you want to be, but who you want to be. At University of Portland, we inspire innovators, entrepreneurs, leaders, difference makers, people with the smarts to succeed and the heart to know what success really means. University of Portland. Rise.
Your Lucky Number Tuesday just got better. We're giving away over $1 million in Bi-Mart gift cards. This holiday season, check the Lucky Number board on Tuesdays at the Bi-Mart you signed up in to see if you're a winner. Starting November 24th, you'll have a chance to win either a $100 or $250 gift card every Tuesday in each store. If you're not already a member, a lifetime Bi-Mart membership is only $5. Get ready for your holiday season with Lucky Number Tuesday at Bi-Mart.
U.S. Bank provides custom solutions to help you grow your business. Whether you've just started in a friend's apartment.
What do you mean there's no printer?
Or opened your first office.
We have a printer.
Or maybe you've opened a new location.
We have so many printers.
You'll have a business banker there to guide you every step of the way. Visit your local U.S. Bank branch or usbank.com/business. Credit products are subject to normal credit approval and program guidelines. Some restrictions and fees may apply. See your banker for details. Deposit products offered by U.S. Bank, National Association, member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Here's the handoff. Gabe Taylor back in the ball game. Wintering jumper. Livingston. Wow. Count it for the 3 ball. Max Livingston, his third of the year. He's now got 5 in the ball game. It is 36-9.
You're listening to Portland Pilots basketball with Coach Eric Reveneau on 910 ESPN Portland. Here again is Bill Johnson.
And more Pilot basketball coming your way tomorrow night. Child Center to take on the Braves of Alcorn State from Alcorn, Mississippi. 6:30 will be our broadcast time on the home of the Pilots, 910 ESPN Portland. And then on the road, travel day Wednesday, Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, Friday, 5 o'clock broadcast time on the West Coast and a 5:30 tip. The Rams of Colorado State to take on the University of Portland. And then depending on how the other game goes, it'll be the Pilots in that tournament in Texas taking on either the University of Texas El Paso or Southern Illinois. Coach, some interesting games coming up this week, and I know you're spending so much time on the teaching level, travel, the games and everything, but just a couple really quick comments about some WCC teams. Gonzaga playing at Battle for Atlantis against cross-state rival Washington Huskies this week.
Yeah, Gonzaga, I haven't had a chance to see them, in the full. Their first game in Japan was canceled due to a slippery floor, and I was set to watch part of that in the second half, and the second half never happened. So, and then they actually had a game last week. The storm and wind up in Spokane was so bad they almost didn't play that. So they're just getting going, and evidently, from on paper and from what I understand, I know of them, they're really tough this year. It'll be an interesting match of styles. Just my early sort of intuition with their big guys and our perimeter orientation this year. It'll be an interesting matchup, but it's always fun when they go out and you pull for the other WCC teams this year. It's it's a good conference, and you like the conference to represent itself well around the country as we go off and play these non-conference games. And we've done a very good job of that in recent years.
A really tough challenge for Santa Clara. Not off to a great start this year under head coach Kerry Keating, playing at Arizona.
Yeah, they're at Irvine tonight. They're actually down at the half. I was just checking the score at the break. They're at Santa Clara's at Irvine, and they're down 19-35. They're young this year again, and they've got they had this tournament. They have the Cable Car Classic, which is I believe it was still the Cable Car Classic, this tournament, 3-day tournament. They lost their first game against Lipscomb in double overtime, and it's just a tough way to start the year. And you know how those MTEs are, where you have 3 games in 3 nights, and you sort of you get out of sorts, and it's really tough to right yourself. And next thing you know, you played 3 games at home, and they're 0-3. And so, but yeah, and then so they got Arizona tonight, and Irvine tonight, and then they're staying down, and they're playing actually in that Anaheim Classic that we look back on so fondly when we were able to upset UCLA and Minnesota and had a great tournament. They've got Arizona, and that's a tough one, but maybe they'll have some good luck and get things turned around.
Interesting game coming up on Sunday, because the Pilots later on in the year will take on both of these teams. UOP, the Tigers out of Stockton, are visiting Sacramento State on Sunday. And the Hornets will come to Portland this year for a non-conference game. And, of course, the Pilots will play Pacific twice, once in Stockton and once at the Child Center. So, of particular interest, the fact that this is a game between 2 teams that the Pilots are going to see a total of 3 times this year.
Yeah, no, and definitely. And Sacramento State's got to get your attention when they have that early season win against Arizona State. They knocked off Arizona State in Tucson to start the year. So, it should be good. A lot of exciting basketball coming up.
Want to remind you now about the broadcast times. Again, tomorrow night, Pilots at home at the Child Center to take on Alcorn State. 6:30, our broadcast time. We'll be visiting, of course, with Coach Rev. And then the tip at 7 o'clock. Then hitting the road to PDX and ending up in Corpus Christi, Texas, which will be a long day of travel for the Purple. And then the opening game coming up against Colorado State. 5 o'clock will be the broadcast time on the West Coast, and the 5:30 tip for the tournament down in Texas. And then Pilots get a chance to come on back home and maybe just catch their breath a little bit with this stretch of 5 games in 8 different days. Coach, thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight. Always enjoy our Monday evening visits with you.
Thank you, Bill. Really appreciate it.
And on behalf of the entire athletic department at the University of Portland, we want to wish you and your respective families a wonderful and, please, a very, very safe Thanksgiving Day weekend. Our executive producer, Jason Bro, our in-studio producer, Jose Navarez, and our board op extraordinaire, Mr. Jesse Osman. I'm Bill Johnson. Thanks so much for joining us. Remember, 6:30 tomorrow night, right here on the home of the Pilots, 910 ESPN Portland, Pilot basketball taking on Alcorn State. We'll see you all, hopefully, at the Child Center. Have a great evening, everybody.
This has been Portland Pilots basketball with Coach Eric Reveneau. Tonight's show was brought to you by employee-owned Weimart, by your local Les Schwab Tire Center, the Oregon College Savings Plan, by Buffalo Wild Wings, U.S. Bank, by Safeway, and by PlaySmart Health Screenings from Providence Heart and Vascular Institute. Join us for University of Portland basketball all season long on the home of the Pilots, 910 ESPN Portland. 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 910 ESPN Portland.